This presentation is aimed at informing our valued partners about the latest information on the A2L refrigerant transition. Refrigerant transitions are not new to the industry. Since the Montreal Protocol was adopted in 1987, there's been a long-range phase-out of refrigerants that damage the ozone layer. It began with a complete phase-out of chlorofluorocarbons like R11 and R12. Then the transitional hydrochlorofluorocarbons, ACFCs, like R22, were phased out. Since 2010, residential cooling systems have contained a refrigerant called R410A, a hydrofluorocarbon that has high global warming potential and could harm the environment if it leaks from a cooling system. For that reason, the U.S. Environmental Protection Agency is phasing down the manufacture and importation of HFCs by 85% over the next 15 years. The EPA's American Innovation and Manufacturing Act requires this transition from HFCs to lower GWP substitutes. Group A2L refrigerants will replace current Group A1 refrigerants in HVAC systems for homes and small businesses. Initially, the rule required that equipment using A1 refrigerants must be fully installed starting January 1st, 2025. However, in December of 2023, the rule was amended. This amended rule allows for inventory of higher GWP equipment manufactured or imported before January 1st, 2025, to be installed until January 1st, 2026. The installation deadline extension to January 1st, 2026 does not affect the design challenges posed by the transition to A2L refrigerants. The standard design practices must be revisited to meet the new specifications and safety standards. Many projects that are currently in the initial design phase will likely use HVAC equipment with A2L refrigerants. One of the biggest challenges with this transition to A2L refrigerants is that they are considered mildly flammable gases. Several important industry standards and model building codes have been revised to allow the use of these refrigerants in HVAC systems. The 2022 edition of ASHRAE Standard 15 incorporates more updates than any other edition in the standard's history. One of these updates requires refrigerant piping that passes through 2 or more floor ceiling assemblies to be contained in an open and ventilated fire resistance rated shaft. Alternatively, the refrigerant line sets could run on the exterior of the building where vented to the outdoors. In the first option, shafts are required to be ventilated, mechanically or naturally. Naturally ventilated shafts shall have a minimum of a 4-inch diameter duct or conduit that connects to the outdoors at the lowest point of the shaft. The pipe, duct, or conduit shall be level or sloped down to the outdoors. The makeup air opening provided at the top of the shaft shall have a minimum free opening area of 12 square inches. For townhomes with ground-mounted condensers at the sides, the most effective way to comply with the new A2L regulations is to provide an external enclosure that is vented to the outdoors. Once the pipes are in the attic space, they can be routed toward the attic-mounted air handlers or back into units' top floors. In single-family homes, there are several possible options. Since the code allows penetration through one floor, single- and two-story homes will not require anything specific for the pipe routing. 3-story buildings will have several options available depending on outdoor and indoor unit locations. Besides refrigerant piping requirements, the new ASHRAE 15.2 standard introduces many other requirements in residential HVAC systems, such as installation of refrigerant leak detectors in equipment, reducing allowable concentration limits for new refrigerants, etc. The purpose of this informative video is not to address all technical details of all new requirements, but rather to highlight the ones that will have the most significant impact on underway projects which, due to their schedule, may be caught up in this transition. It is important to remember that federal regulations initiated this change. ASHRAE standards and the International Mechanical Code are ready for this technology update. California codes still use the language of the previous version of the ASHRAE 15 standard, but it is expected that California will follow the rest of the country in this transition by enforcing the updated version of ASHRAE standards. We recommend contacting the authority having jurisdiction for clarification about ASHRAE 15.2 standard implementation.